You are 22 years old, good at code, clean on paper, and naive enough to think this is a job application. The NSA website looks harmless. Beige government design, bureaucratic language. You upload your resume, enter your GPA, list your computer science degree, click submit, and move on with your life. 8 months later, they call you back. Fort Meade does not feel like a workplace. It feels like a warning. Electrified fencing, guard towers, badge checks stacked on top of badge checks. By the time you reach the interview room, you've already been searched, logged, and watched more closely than most people will be in their entire lives. A woman in business casual sits across from you in a room with no windows and starts asking questions that seem disconnected until you realize what this really is. She is not interviewing you for competence. She is mapping you for weakness. What languages do you know? Which countries have you visited? Who do you still talk to from college? Did you ever access something you weren't supposed to? Did you ever betray a confidence? Did you ever lie to authority? 3 weeks later comes the polygraph. Belts around your chest, sensors on your fingertips, pressure cuff on your arm. The examiner is calm enough to make you more nervous. The machine cannot detect lies, it detects stress. The problem is that stress and deception look almost identical when your body starts panicking. So you sit there trying to breathe like your future depends on it. Because it does. Then the background check starts eating through your life. Old roommates, former teachers, ex-girlfriends, neighbours. Investigators are all trying to answer one question. Can this person be trusted with information that could ruin operations or shift the balance of power between states? 40 months after you applied, you get your answer. Top secret. SCI. Now the ladder begins. Level 1. Cleared but nobody. You enter at GS9 Step 1, about $76,000 a year. On paper, it sounds respectable. In reality, you are the lowest form of trusted life inside one of the most secretive institutions on Earth. Your badge opens some doors, not the important ones. Your clearance sounds elite, until you learn that even inside TS/SCI, there are deeper compartments and code word programs so restricted that people with your access still are not allowed to know they exist. You are assigned as an entry-level intelligence analyst in the Signals Intelligence Directorate. Your days happen under fluorescent light in a windowless room full of cubicles and air conditioning, strong enough to keep classified machines from overheating. Your monitor faces away from the aisle. Your keyboard gets covered every time you stand up. Cameras track movement. Some doors require 2 people to enter together. This is the first lesson of the ladder. You are cleared. You are watched. Those are not the same thing. The work is smaller than you expected. You thought it would feel like spy fiction. Instead, it feels like statistical suffocation, metadata, timestamps, geolocation pings, device relationships, endless digital residue from people who thought distance or encryption made them invisible. For 6 months, you build patterns. You stare at fragments until the fragments start becoming behavior. And because you are better at it than most people, they notice. Level 2. Pattern Reader. At your first review, you get the reward that matters inside bureaucracies. Recognition, not glory, access to better training. You are pulled into the agency's analyst development track, a multi-year rotation system built to turn entry-level workers into people the machine can actually use. You move across offices, cryptanalysis, network analysis, target development, language support. Different departments, same message. The real power here does not belong to the person who sees data. It belongs to the person who understands what it means first. You begin working around linguists, signal specialists, technical analysts, people who can identify a speaker from voice patterns, people who can trace relationships between phones that never call each other directly, people who can infer structure from silence. Now the phone numbers become people. The people become networks. The networks become intentions. And with that comes the second lesson of the ladder. Once you can see the pattern, you stop looking at the world the way civilians do. You also start hearing about the next layer. Special access programs. Programs beyond your current read-in. programs so compartmented that even knowing they exist is a privilege. Senior analysts whisper about them in cafeterias and secure corridors. They work in buildings you do not enter, on operations you are not allowed to name. You start wanting in. By year 3, you finish the development track and move to GS11, around $98,000 a year, still below what your college friends are making in Silicon Valley. They build products. You build access to the hidden nervous systems of other nations. Level 3. The inner rooms. Your supervisor calls you in and gives you the first real opening of your career. Tailored access operations. This is where the NSA stops being a listening service and becomes something more invasive. The interview is technical and cold. Network architecture, exploit logic, operational security, adversarial thinking. They are testing whether you can think like someone who can get inside a system that was built to keep people like you out forever. You get selected. This is where the ladder changes shape. You're no longer just reading signals. You're helping create the conditions that make collection possible. A foreign target is using encrypted communications on an air-gapped network. Your team studies how to reach it anyway. Hardware implants, supply chain compromise, human error. Physical access, social engineering, patience. The targets are not amateurs. These are states with their own cyber units and intelligence services trying to do the exact same thing. To your side, at this level, the work starts feeling less like analysis and more like controlled trespass at global scale. You spend years here. You make GS13, roughly $127,000. Still not private sector money, but by now you understand the trade you made. People outside can get rich. Very few people on Earth get to touch this level of hidden reach. You help develop access that feeds presidential briefings. You watch operations unfold across months or years. You learn how much of modern power depends on who can enter a network first and remain there unseen. And then the third lesson arrives. The deeper you go, the less anyone can ever know what you've done. If you need credit, you stall out here. If you can live without it, you keep climbing. Level 4, Keeper of Access. This is the fork in the ladder. Stay technical and you become one of the agency's rare specialists. Move into management and you gain influence over people, priorities, and mission direction. You choose management. As a branch chief at GS14, you are now responsible for teams instead of just outputs. 40 analysts, multiple target sets, operations moving at different speeds with different risks and different political value. You stop solving isolated technical problems and start choosing which problems deserve resources at all. You discover that the agency is not just a precision machine. It is a bureaucracy. Budgets matter, personalities matter, rivalries matter. Some operations get priority because they matter most. Others get priority because the right senior person championed them at the right meeting. The people who fail here are the purists. The ones who think intelligence work should remain clean and purely mission-focused. The people who rise are the ones who learn to operate inside the bureaucracy without being crushed by it. That is what this level really measures: institutional fluency. Level 5, Bureaucracy of Power. By your early 40s, you have spent enough years inside the system that the outside world feels abstract. Your speech is more careful, your instincts are more suspicious. A division chief role opens in the Cybersecurity Directorate. Now the mission shifts. Less penetration, more defense. National security systems are under constant pressure from foreign actors, and your job is to oversee the branches trying to keep critical networks standing while adversaries keep evolving. You step into the senior executive service. The salary rises, but not enough to explain why anyone would want this job. The real payment is proximity to consequence. You sit in classified meetings with other agencies, you coordinate with Cyber Command, you brief upward. When there is a serious intrusion, you are in the room explaining what happened, how bad it is, and what the government can still salvage. This is where the ladder stops feeling thrilling. Now it feels heavy. because at this level you finally see what intelligence work actually does when it leaves the secure room. It informs sanctions, it shapes covert action, it influences military posture, it can save lives, it can also set events in motion that kill people you will never meet. That is the fourth lesson of the ladder. The more power you gain over information, the less control you have over what that information is ultimately used for. Level 6. The shadow executive. After years at division level, you get the call for associate director. This is no longer a technical career. It is command inside the architecture of the American intelligence state. Thousands of employees, massive budgets, compartmented programs spread across offense, collection, analysis, and cyber operations. You are making decisions about priority, acceptable risk, interagency coordination, foreign liaison relationships, and strategic focus. You brief people whose names the public actually recognizes. You speak in closed sessions before congressional committees. You help determine which problems become national priorities and which ones stay buried because there are not enough resources, legal room, or political appetite to act. At this level, almost every decision costs something. Push too hard and you burn capability. Move too slowly and you lose access. Share too much and you expose sources. Share too little and policy gets built in the dark. You started this ladder thinking intelligence was about secrets. It is not. At the top, intelligence is about managed consequence. Level 7. The shadow ceiling. After nearly 3 decades, one rung remains. Deputy Director, the highest civilian tier in the agency. You are close enough that people start saying your name in the right rooms. You have the resume, the trust, the history, the credibility. But this level is no longer just about merit. It is also about timing, administrations, and internal alignments. You do not get it. Someone else does. It hurts. But by then you understand the final truth of the ladder. Nobody climbs this high and leaves unchanged. Whether you get the final rung or not, the institution already took what it wanted from you. Your silence, your instincts, your ability to explain your life to normal people in normal terms. Eventually, you retire. Small ceremony, commendation, pension, a house somewhere in Maryland. Your family knows you worked in intelligence. They do not know the programs, the accesses, the operations, the years of your life spent carrying information that could expose capabilities or destabilize governments if mishandled. And that is the real top of the NSA ladder. Not wealth, not fame, not even authority. It is becoming a person who knows how much of the modern world is shaped by hidden access, hidden systems, and hidden decisions, an understanding that you can never fully come back from knowing it. Somewhere right now, another 22-year-old is polishing a resume, listing cybersecurity coursework, checking their GPA, getting ready to submit an application to Fort Meade. They think they are applying for prestige, purpose, maybe even adventure. They are not. They are applying to spend the next 30 years learning how power really moves through the dark. And if the machine accepts them, it will teach them the same lesson it teaches everyone who stays. The shadows do not merely need new analysts, they need new keepers.